I acknowledge the member for St. Peter.
Madam Speaker, first let me apologize for my absence today. But I really was not feeling well, but I had to do my duty and come to this honorable house.
Very happy to see you, sir.
St. Peter's constituency sent me here to represent them and to advocate their interests and to be the guardians of their interests. So I'm here, Madam Speaker, because I was afraid that the government would wind up the debate and I would not get a chance to make my contribution. But Madam Speaker, in all honesty, I am privileged once again to rise in this honorable house and to make my contribution to the 2005 budget debate. I don't have any Lennox Westons or Warren Saunders to help me to prepare my notes. I'm not as fortunate to have the Financial Secretary, Whitfield Harris, or the Budget Director anymore to do my research for me. So I prepared my own research, Madam Speaker, and I hope you will allow me. I will not read my notes, but I will refer to my notes. But they are mine. And rest assured, they are mine from the heart. Madam Speaker, I feel strongly about this budget, and about any budget debate for that matter. For budget is probably the most important thing in the life of any country, and in the life of any parliamentary debate. Because you see, a budget affects the lives and the welfare of all the citizens of the country. It affects the quality of life, and it questions the very fundamental commitment to our country. But before I go into my analysis and my critique of the budget, it would be remiss of me if I was not, Madam Speaker, to be honest. It would be extremely dishonest of me not to congratulate sincerely the member for St. John's Wool East, my learned friend, my once so-called blood brother, as Lennox Weston accused us. He says that the former Attorney General, now Minister of Finance and Economy, Dr. Joey John and myself, we have an insatiable appetite for greed and for corruption, and that we were once the three blue-eyed boys of Lester Burn. But indeed, Errol Court was my attorney, and I'm proud today that you are the Minister of Finance and the Economy. I'm also proud that you're the member for Wool East, and I want to commend you for that budget presentation that you delivered to this Honorable House on this historic 30th of November last week, when, Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member waxed so eloquently. He displayed his great oratorical skills. He was so persuasive in his debate presentation. I was proud of you. And I must be honest, Madam Speaker, at one time I wanted to get up and applaud him and to join the rest of this Honorable House and to give him a standing ovation. I was tempted. Really and sincerely, I think you have learned well at the feet of our former boss and mentor, Lester Bryan Burn. But let me warn you, Honorable Minister of Finance, you were not given the portfolios of the Ministry of Finance and the Economy to come to this Honorable House and to show up your colleague ministers, especially the member for St. Philip's South, the Honorable Wilmot Daniel, and the member for St. John's City East, who has great ambitions to be Prime Minister of this country one day. And you have shown them up. You have indeed even made the Honorable Prime Minister feel insecure. And he must have a sense of insecurity now, Madam Speaker, after having listened to that marathon presentation by the Honorable Minister of Finance. But, Madam Speaker, as I said, I was in bed for most of the day. And in all seriousness, I would like to make my presentation uninterrupted by the government side. I sat and I listened to them today, and they were never interrupted by this side. But every time the member for St. John City West or the member for St. Peter gets up in this honorable house, I notice that we are harassed and we are harangued and we're not allowed. I want to be able to make my presentation uninterrupted, Madam Speaker. So I crave your indulgence. The Honorable Minister of Finance last Tuesday was able to sell ice in hell and make money from it. He was so persuasive in his deliberations and in his speech. But you see, my dear Minister of Finance, we all know that the government finances and the state of the fiscal situation in Antigua and Barbuda have been in a precarious situation and has been in fiscal imbalance for some years now. There's no secret about that. So to come to this honorable house and say that the Labour Party was a fiscally responsible government and we balanced budget after budget would be a blatant lie. The whole world knows. The IMF knows it, the World Bank knows it, the CDB knows it, the Central Bank knows it. But the important point is that employment was viewed by the previous Antigua Labour Party government as a means to alleviate poverty. Poverty alleviation. Employment in the public service was viewed by previous Antigua Labour Party governments as a protection of the more vulnerable in our society. We were told time after time, V.C. Bird was told, Lester Bird was told, John St. Luce, Malvin Joseph, myself, you have to send home 3,000, 4,000 public servants. You have to cut the wage bill. You have to have fiscal discipline. You have to have an austerity program. You have to tighten your belts. We have heard all of those phrases over the years, Madam Speaker. It is a known fact also that more frequently, over the last year or two, that the previous government has had to borrow monthly from the local banks to meet our current obligations, to meet payroll to public servants monthly. And we know that such borrowing undoubtedly, Madam Speaker, exacerbated the debt service burden of this country. It widened the fiscal current account deficit. There's no secret about that. We make no apology for that. But, Madam Speaker, we laid off not one single public servant. We sent home not one public servant. We told the IMF and the World Bank and the Central Bank, we will not send them home. And let me explain, Madam Speaker. This Labour Party has been castigated and demonized by the present government of achieving nothing in this country. We have done nothing. We have broken down all institutions. We have destroyed the moral fabric of the society of this country. We have created no wealth. We have created no opportunities for our people. But that is not so. That is the picture that the now UPP administration, the Sunshine Government, would love history to record the Antigua Labour Party as being in office for 28 years. But that is not so. We have been responsible for the good quality of life that the citizens enjoy in this country. We have been responsible for the good infrastructure that you have inherited, the good state of the roads, the excellent telecommunications infrastructure that you have inherited. We have been responsible for the strong and vibrant banking system that they've inherited. We have allowed our citizens to save in excess of 1.2 billion Eastern Caribbean dollars in the banks in our local economy. They didn't do that, Madam Speaker. We did it. After all, Antigua was placed after Barbados as having the highest social index in the entire English Caribbean speaking countries. We were also responsible for employing 33% of the local workforce. Where do you hear in any country, small, developed, undeveloped country, that the central government employs 33% of the workforce? That is an attestation to the philosophy that the Antigua Labour Party